So here's the fourth part in our little One Pot Wonder series. Simple dishes that you can come home, cook in one pan, minimal washing up, get done and serve something absolutely delicious. Now, this is a dessert. So that's a bit of a change. Moving away from the savoury, the lovely chicken, the cob with clams, which loads of you cooked, and I'm really grateful to see that and all the feedback. When you repost these dishes of what you've cooked or the dishes that I've done, I love it. It's brilliant and I love reposting them, and it sort of reassures me to keep going, so thank you. So this is all about dessert, and I thought for this time of year, what's perfect in one pot like that? It's got to be a rhubarb and apple crumble. Okay, so to make this crumble, we need to start with some apples and some rhubarb. I love to cook with bramley apples. I love bramley apples. They do need more butter and sugar than most other apples. That will be plenty. And we're going to start in our pan with some nice salted French butter, as always. In go the lovely apples. They go in first before the rhubarb. They get peeled, they get chopped down, no core in there. Just going to turn that up a little bit. No core in there, chop them down nice even size. They're going to end up as like a puree anyway. There's no point cutting them too neat. Pop those in there. I'm going to actually do a little bit more because they will cook all the way down and I want this completely full. This will make a fantastic crumble and we're going to serve that with ice cream. But the secret to this really is in the crumble topping. That's the one, that's the bit. That's where I think we can have a lot of fun with this. So first of all, apples, butter, a little bit of butter. That's enough, and some sugar in there as well. Plenty of sugar because they're bramley apples, they need plenty of sugar. The key to this here is to get a lid on this. So we're going to put a cartouche on there, and then I'm going to cover this pan so that we get a bit of sort of steam happening and those apples can soften and cook really slowly down as well. So we're going to cover that, cook the apples down, and then we're going to come on to introduce the rhubarb, which will have slightly less cooking. So we've got a little bit of chunk of rhubarb in there as well. Okay, let's move on to the crumble part. This for me is the best bit actually, and the way that I stabilize these two parts and put them together I think is really lovely. I make my crumble mix slightly different to most people, but it's very simple actually. It's 1 part butter, salted French butter, 1 part sugar, caster sugar, can be brown, can be muscovado. Now if I'm using, this is where it gets complicated, if I'm using plums or making a plum crumble or I'm making a blackberry crumble, those kind of darker fruits, I'll use a darker sugar. I don't know why, there's no science behind that, just how I feel. If I'm making an apple crumble, rhubarb crumble, perhaps a pear crumble, I will use white sugar. So there you go. So equal parts of butter, sugar, ground almonds, flour, and oats, rolled oats. These are from Shipton Mill. I buy these from Shipton Mill online at home, and this is what I eat every day. You didn't need to know that, but you do now. So there you go. In goes first of all the butter. You could do this in a KitchenAid with an attachment, but I don't. I like to do it with my hands because I just think you end up, you'll see at the end, you end up with, let's get rid of that because this is going to get messy. You'll see at the end, what you need to do is just sort of feather the flour and the butter together. So what I'm doing here is just basically sifting the flour through the butter. You want the butter to be really cold to do this. It's almost like making pastry. But I want to end up with lots of lumps of butter in there because they're what sort of, they caramelize and they make lumps. And lumps of flour and butter are what makes that sort of gooey, unctuous, wonderful crumble mix topping. Listen, let's just go back quickly to our apples now. It doesn't take long at all. Thanks for the random lid. Look, they've come down to sort of a little bit of a pulpy texture now. Those apples, they break down. Now I'm going to go in with the rhubarb, but I'm not going to mix it. And this is quite important. I'm just going to bury that rhubarb in. Let that continue. That rhubarb's going to bleed out. It's got more water than the apples. It's going to bleed out. I don't want to cook the rhubarb as far as the apples. I want to make sure we leave some texture in there. So that's really important. Back on with my lovely cartouche. Back on with my lid. Perfect lid. And let that just cook away. Back to my crumble. So again, it's flour and butter coming together until all the butter's been incorporated into the flour. nice salted French butter. And I'm just going to put a little pinch of Maldon salt in here as well. Nearly there, nearly there. This takes time. It's supposed to take time. Once this is kind of at the stage it needs to be. Okay, so there you go. That's that flour incorporated. We need a little pinch of salt in there, really important. In goes the sugar. In goes the almonds. And we just give that a nice mix. Beautiful. And then in goes our rolled oats. And remember, this is equal quantities, so the whole thing's equal. And you can make this, and a lot of restaurants you go to, they will make this and they'll cook this on a tray. They'll make a fruit compote, add the cooked crumble mix, and then bake it back through the oven again. Nothing wrong with that. It happens all over the world. But I just want to show you how to do this at home. And you could do this and keep it in a jar, keep it in the fridge. Just, but it doesn't take that long to do. And if you wanted, you could add spice to this if you wanted. I don't like spice in a crumble, but you could add some lovely cinnamon into there, some ginger into there. That would work really well with rhubarb and apple. Equally, you could add some raisins if it was your thing. Yeah, make it your own. Lean into it. There you go. There's our wonderful crumble topping. Right, let's see how our rhubarb is doing. Beautiful. We just need another minute or two for that rhubarb just to break down. I want to see the rhubarb start to break down a little bit before we do this. But yeah, the recipe for this is in the comments below. You can get the exact recipe for this, and you can make it en masse. You can make it during the week for two to share in a single pot the whole way through. What a cracking thing to do. There we go. That's perfect. So the rhubarb is now softened slightly. The apples are really soft. Let's tuck that in, make ourselves as much room as possible. Now, I think it's really important that we're not stingy with the crumble topping. I hate a crumble when you dig into it and it's like a really thin layer of crumble and all fruit. This needs to be significant on the crumble mix. And we're going to pack in as much of this beautifully as we can. I love a crumble. Do you like crumble with cream, custard or ice cream, Sam? Cold with ice cream. Wow. You don't like hot crumble, or you prefer it cold?
Every dessert is better cold.
Oh my goodness me. Souffle? Wow, Sam, that's a serious statement there. The butter's going to melt over the oats and the flour, and they're going to caramelize, and that's where the beauty is in this whole thing. So don't be tempted to sort of pack it all down. Don't be tempted to be stingy on the crumble mix. You don't want that. And then we just want a nice bit of caster sugar over the top. I reckon that is going to be absolutely wonderful. Let's show that the oven. 180, preheated. I'll tell you, got an oven. In it goes. See you later. Okay, so that crumble's had some good amount of time in the oven there. Let's have a look. Oh, it's bubbly. It's bubbly and... if this is Sunday lunch right now, shush, and someone puts that in the middle of the table, you're getting up to give them a hug, aren't you? Look at that. How beautiful. Now, the big question is, cream, custard, or ice cream? The trinity of servings with crumble. I might do it with all three. Why not? Because we can. And do excuse the dark. It's got a bit dark on me. We've been doing this all day. Time's run away. Things happen. It's a restaurant. So it's got a bit dark on me. And Sam's getting very upset about it, so I thought I'd just interject there. So let's plate up some of this lovely crumble. I fancy some now. There's your ice cream. There's your cream. And there's your custard. I reckon if you can't beat them, join them. Put it all in there. Yorkshire rhubarb and bramley apple crumble. With all the trimmings, salt caramel ice cream, creme anglaise, custard, and cream. God, it's been a day. I hope you enjoy that. I hope you make it. Remember, thick topping, thick crumble. One pot wonder. So there you have it. That is my rhubarb and apple crumble. Bramley apples, Yorkshire rhubarb, ice cream, cream and custard. The perfect trinity. Cook away, enjoy.